This is this is sort of the Father Andrew nostalgia tour. Hey, Areopagites, I'm Father Andrew Stephen Damick.
I'm Reverend Mike Landsman.
Yeah, so where are we, Mike?
We are somewhere. If you look at this sign in this ancient script over here,
That's right.
It says the way is shut. It is made by those who are dead. The way is shut. So unfortunately, we cannot walk through these gates.
That's right, exactly. No, we're at St. Tikhon's Monastery on this side of the road, and on the other side is St. Tikhon's Seminary. And we're going to give you guys a little Areopagitic tour.
Let's make that a descriptor. Is that an adjective? Or
absolutely.
There we go.
All right, let's go.
Here comes the wind.
It's very windy today. So actually, first we're going to go ahead and head on into the seminary. So let's cross the street and not get hit by cars.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome to St. Tikhon's, everybody.
Thank you, thank you.
So this is the front entrance. Now, I studied here when I was a seminarian, but that was 20 years ago. It's changed a lot. It looks much nicer now than it did then.
I did not study here, but I bought books from the bookstore here and read them.
That's almost as good.
Pretty much.
You can probably get
it's like the experience minus the cost.
So, all right, well, here's the front entrance.
There's Our Lady.
You can see now down this way, this is the administrative wing, and down that way is where most of the classrooms are. So why don't we head down here? There's actually some really cool stuff to see down this way. So let's go.
Here we go.
Oh, by the way, I have to show you guys this. So when I was a seminarian here, this is where we all got our mail, and this was my mailbox right here, number 53. I don't think I still know the combination. I'm going to steal somebody else's.
That's fortuitous. That's the same
That's
number
probably a good idea.
as Herbie the Love Bug.
That's true.
Number 53.
That's right. That's right. All right. We can get the lights on. Okay. So now, when I was a seminarian here, this was just part of an office. But they did some historical work and discovered that this was in fact the office where St. Nikolai Velimirovich, or St. Nikolai of Życia, where he had his office, because St. Nikolai was I think the rector here at St. Tikhon's many decades ago. And St. Nikolai actually died right here. So this is the very place of his repose. And so as you can see now, they've turned it into a shrine dedicated to St. Nikolai. You can see on the walls, there's icons of various moments from his life, but especially his life here at St. Tikhon's. So for instance, this icon right here, you can see this is an icon of his death. So he's being carried away by the angels. And then you see here in the background, here's the St. Tikhon's Arch, which is where we started our tour today. And behind it, there's St. Tikhon's Monastery Church. Yep. And over here, there's an icon of St. Tikhon teaching seminarians. You can see all those beardless youths. And it's raining outside, which is or snowing, I can't really tell, but pretty normal weather for this part of Pennsylvania. And then here in this key part of the shrine, there's a big icon of St. Nikolai, and there's a very small relic here from his body, and this is his mitre, and this is a piece of some of his vestments and a photo of him. So there's a number of things here that are directly connected with St. Nikolai Velimirovich. So it's just a beautiful thing to be in his presence here in the very room where he passed into life eternal. I mean, just a beautiful, beautiful blessing.
Yeah, so, if you come here, definitely stop by this room.
Yeah. This is a holy, holy place. So, all right, let's head on down the hall. There's another place I'd like to show you here. All right, so there's various classrooms and so forth. I mean, St. Tikhon's is not a big place. You can see the whole thing in not too long. But down here, so here's one of the classrooms. You can look and you can see some seminarians through the window. Try not to distract them, but there they are. So, all right, here.
I will not press my face against the glass.
Don't press your face against the glass. That would not be nice, Michael.
That would be great. But chapel.
So this is a chapel, and there are some services that are held here, but the main purpose of this chapel is that it is used for liturgical training. So, seminarians take classes on how to be a deacon, how to be a priest. And this is an unconsecrated altar. And so one of the things that are done is they bring in, have someone stand in front, and he sort of pretends to be a priest and learns, a lot of those basics. But it's a beautiful space. It's wonderfully quiet. I have actually served liturgy in this chapel. It's been some time. There was a period where the Antiochian seminarians were having a liturgy. They would have an Antiochian priest come and serve liturgy. And I came up here and I served liturgy, I think, at least a couple of times.
Look at this.
I've never seen this here on the wall, before. Fascinating icon of the Last Judgment. You can see, unlike most Orthodox icons, this is a very chaotic kind of image. But
it's very different from like the stuff you would see from like Bosch, like those types of paintings. Like I've never seen an Orthodox icon of the Last Judgment.
There's a number of them.
Some very different.
Some are really crazy, chaotic like this. Others a little bit more orderly.
Sure.
But you can see, monsters and up top things are very orderly, where you see Christ surrounded by the saints and the angels. But down at the bottom, what you're looking at is damnation and judgment. There are actually a few relics in this room. So over here, there is a relic of Saint Nikolai of Życia. Right here. And here's a relic of Saint Gabriel Ergabudza. I don't know how to pronounce Georgian. The Saint Gabriel of Georgia.
Aha!
Yeah.
Sorry.
Georgian is not a language that
Fair enough.
I know much about. So, yeah. Honestly, this is one of my favorite chapels here at St. Tikhon. So there's a relic of St. John of Kronstadt.
Oh, St. Moses, the Black.
Icon, of course, of St. Moses the Black. Yep. It's just a great space. I love this. Have you been in here before, Michael?
Never. I've never seen this room before.
Yeah.
I've only been here a few times, and I didn't even know this room existed.
I like it. And here on the wall, behind the chainer stand, this is an icon of Saint Alexis Toft, Alexis of Wilkes-Barre, who is here on the monastery grounds. He was
also
a married priest. He was a widower by the time he came to America, but in many ways, he's responsible for a lot of the existence of Orthodox Christianity here in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Also the creator of Space Ghost.
Not quite.
That's not true. That would be great if it was.
Yeah, there's a number of icons of people at St. Tikhon.
Yeah.
So you can
see the arch.
There's the arch again. So that's St. Tikhon of Moscow, who founded the monastery. And then I think this is St. Sophrony, who never came here as far as I know. But he's very beloved by a lot of the people here, because actually one of the professors here, Dr. Mary Ford, and also another professor, Dr. Christopher Benjamin, they both retired now from the seminary, but both of them were spiritual children of St. Sophrony in England.
I remember you had Dr. Benjamin at your parish. You had a parish life meeting or
at our parish life conference. Yep.
Yeah, a few years ago.
That's right. Oh yeah, this is worth looking at here. So, the sort of the annual, like the yearbook, so to speak, of St. Tikhon's is called the Tikhonaire, and so you're seeing now this is the covers of multiple generations now of Tikhonaires. Let's see if we can find my year. So, 2007. Yep. So this is my graduating year. You can see, that's how the monastery church looked then, and it's different now. It's different now, which y'all will see in just a minute when we go back up the hill. But
running up that hill.
Yes, running up that hill. I should say no tour of St. Tikhon's would be complete without noting Archbishop Cyprian, who I never met him. He died before I ever came here, but he was the rector here for a long, long time, and there's a whole generation of clergy that he was the one who was running the place. So he's much beloved and remembered very, very well here. Oh, this is, I'm not sure exactly when this was, but this bishop here is Metropolitan Leonti Turkevich, who is buried right up next to the monastery church, and he's actually being investigated for canonization. Yeah. Oh, here's a photo there's St. Nikolai right there. And so this entrance door was not where the main entrance is now. It's actually just like, a door or two down from, a space or two down from where we are. So, you know, the outside of the seminary has changed a lot over the years. Yeah, come on, Mike. You got to talk a little more. I'm sort of.
Well, I mean, this is your stomping grounds, man.
It is my old. Yeah,
Like,
I haven't stomped here in a while, but
if we went to Hatfield to the remains of my old seminary, I would lead you around all over the places that.
Oh yes, biblical theological
seminary. Now Missio.
Missio.
Now I think they're. I don't even know if they still exist anymore.
Really?
I don't know if they combined with another seminary.
Well, after you graduated, they broke the mold.
Well, I mean, they did graduate me. So.
And they're like, our mission has been accomplished.
Yeah,
That's right.
We took this Pentecostal reformed-ish guy.
Just like the whole arc of ancient Israel was to produce the Messiah.
The arc of biblical theological seminary was me.
That's right.
Dr. Cooper, if you're watching this, I apologize. Love you having on the pod, actually. If you're
Come on
available.
down. Yeah, exactly.
Let's do it.
Exactly. So.
Here you go.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm talking a lot, but that's because I have things to say.
This is your spot.
Yeah. So often people will talk about, you know, on the other side of the street, because the seminary is on this side, and the monastery is on this side.
Is the monastery museum still? Is it still open?
Yes. Well, there is a museum.
Yeah, it's right up here.
Up here, we can check and see if it is open.
I remember, I came here with a friend. And they made a monk, as like part of his obedience, take us on a tour of the museum.
Oh, yes.
He did a good job. I don't know if he wanted to, but he did a very good job.
I mean, obedience doesn't necessarily imply they don't want to do it.
That's true. Obedience is better than sacrifice.
I should say, by the way, okay, so like as you're looking at these beautiful grounds.
Yes.
I shouldn't say none of this. A lot of this was not here when I was studying here. A lot of this is new. This water feature, you know, this, as they call it. This pergola, a lot of this beautiful, you know, rocks and beautiful landscaping and stuff. This was all relatively new.
Yes.
And very much due to the efforts of the abbot, Father Sergius. So, yay, Father Sergius. I mean, that's not the only thing he's accomplished, but it's lovely. It's lovely. There are some people here doing music, it looks like. So let's try to be a little bit quiet. Shh.
I will try.
Coming in. All right. Yeah, so these are people doing, there's a music program here at St. Tikhon's, and that's what these people in front of us are working with, so we're going to have to be very, very quiet. We're going to take a little tour of the monastery museum. You can see they've got beautiful old gospel books. Yeah. See once again.
It says do not touch, but it doesn't say you can't kiss.
Let's see here once again. Now this is a procession, but there used to be a parish church here many, many years ago, which burned down, I think in the 1920s, if I recall correctly. And that's what this is. I think it was named for the Dormition. Yeah. Now somewhere around here is stuff that belonged to Father George Florovsky, who's one of my personal heroes. So you can find it.
There it is.
This right here is the desk set of Father George Florovsky. I mean, that's kind of cool.
It's very
This
cool.
letter opener.
The Florovsky Symposium at Princeton is where Father and I
That's right.
first became friends.
Our friendship really began
Yeah.
because of Father George
Yep.
Florovsky in a lot of ways, because that's where we met the first time. Was that 2012? 2013?
2012. I believe it's 2012.
Man, we were a lot younger.
And thinner.
I think you've lost weight, actually.
A little bit. I think I've gotten funnier too.
You're funnier? That's
I
good.
hope so.
You gotta love this cassock, or ryasa. A gift from the Emperor Hirohito to Metropolitan Irene,
Oh, wow.
who was then the head of the OCA, or what would become the OCA, maybe, I think.
Was Emperor Hirohito a Nephilim?
Was the Emperor of Japan one of the Nephilim?
Find
I
out.
don't know. Find out on next week's Lord of Spirits podcast.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, you can't have a museum of Orthodox, especially Russian Orthodox stuff without eggs, right?
Yep.
Got to have the pisanki.
Interestingly enough, I got gifted an egg.
Really?
By one of my congregants many, many years ago.
Like a Russian Orthodox egg?
Yeah, like a Russian Orthodox
egg. You know,
egg,
Lithuanians make this too. They call it marguche.
Marguche. I would have known. I knew that.
You knew that?
I wanted to see you.
Thank you.
I'm recently Lithuanian.
Yeah.
So
that's right. As we discovered, Michael
I
is.
wanted you to get the spotlight.
Lithuanian Jewish. He's a Litvak.
Yep. I'm a Litvak.
So, yeah. Oh wow, it's a relic of St. Ephrem of Syria. We're headed up to the monastery church now. You can see here, that's the monastery church proper. This is the monastery where the monks actually live, is over here on the left. There's another house behind that. They have a chapel in there. I got to see inside it one time. That's not happening today. Bell tower. This is a Russian Orthodox monastery traditionally, so Russians love their bells. So there's a lot of bells that go on here. So these two sculptures are made from these trees. So there's this shrine over here. You can see icon of Christ. Yep. And then this other one, this is St. Tikhon of Moscow, or St. Tikhon Bilavin, who founded this monastery and named it after his own patron saint, St. Tikhon of Zadansk. So you got to keep your St. Tikhon straight when you're here at St. Tikhon's.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, exactly. So here he is. Of course, since Michael and I are both Lithuanians, I have to point out that he was Archbishop of Vilnius when he was elected as Patriarch of Moscow. So he served here in America. He founded this place. He was here. And then he went back and he was the Archbishop of Yaroslavl for a little while and then Archbishop of Vilnius in Lithuania. So he's a Lithuanian saint too. There's a couple of notable graves here on the east end of the monastery church. Now this first one is the grave of Metropolitan Leonti Turkevich. And Metropolitan Leonti, actually, he was a married priest, but his wife died relatively young and left him with multiple young children. And he served as a married priest for a while, as a widower priest for a while. But then eventually they made him a bishop, and then eventually he became the Metropolitan of, it was not the OCA yet. It wasn't the OCA until 5 years after he died. But he led what was then called the Metropolia of the Russian Orthodox Church here in America. And he is being actively investigated for canonization. So we could well be standing here at the grave of a saint, but he's here now. Yep. And then this mausoleum that's right next to us, this is the original burial place of Saint Alexis of Wilkes-Barre, or Saint Alexis Toft. And you can see here his, it's proto-presbyter Toft, here on top. He's no longer in this mausoleum. This is where he was buried when he died. But his remains are now inside the monastery church, which unfortunately right now is locked. And in a beautiful shrine right up next to the iconostasis. And so this church is one of the shrines of the American Orthodox saints, and it has the major relics of St. Alexis right in there. So it's a very special place in a lot of ways. So, well, let's take a quick trip into the cemetery. I love cemeteries. You like cemeteries, don't you, Mike?
Love them.
Yeah, right. But there's some notable people here in this cemetery that I think people should take note of. So here we go. Let's try not to slip on the ice and snow.
It'll make for great B-roll if I do.
That's right. It will make. Yeah, you slipping?
Yep.
Woo! If somebody ever comes here on Memorial Day
Yeah.
which is the big annual pilgrimage here at the monastery. There are a lot of people who come and their family members are buried here, and they often will bring priests with them. So if you come to here on Memorial Day, then you'll see priests scattered throughout the cemetery praying memorials over the graves of these people. It's actually a beautiful, beautiful sight. The older graves are here on this end. There's a few bishops, especially lots of members of the monastery brotherhood, so there's a lot of monks that are buried up here. The farther out you go, the newer the graves are, and you start to see more kind of American-sounding names.
Yeah.
But up here, it's mostly Slavic names, the occasional Greek, but mostly Slavic names, as you see here. And a number of the gravestones, as you look, most of them are written with Latin characters, it's English, but there are a few that are still in Russian. Mm-hmm. Here's some of those that you can see with the Russian script. There's a lot of clergy buried here. Lots and lots, and their wives. There actually is some Russian royalty buried here. Probably a bunch of them, actually, but several of them are right here. So these are all members of the Trubetskoy family. And you can see Princess Lubov, Prince Sergei, Princess Maria. Obviously, these are sort of exiled Russian royals. All born, these two, this one was born after the revolution. These are from right before, right around. But of course here, probably the most famous grave in this cemetery, this is the grave of the renowned Father Alexander Schmemann, who, he was the dean at St. Vladimir's Seminary in New York. Just a renowned author, theologian, broadcaster. He did stuff on the radio, so he was, we're kind of in his tradition to some extent. And, I always would joke with the guys who went to St. Vlad's Seminary. I'd be like, yeah, you guys had Father Alexander as your dean. But when it came time to spend eternity somewhere, this is where he chose to be, with St. Tikhon. So, a little inter-seminary cattiness.
Yeah. It's interesting also how For the Life of the World has found such wide readership outside of Orthodox circles.
Yeah.
So a Presbyterian friend of ours, Dr. Jenkins, he talks about how it was all the rage in Presbyterian circles for a long time.
Yep.
And other places as well. So his influence reaches beyond even the Orthodox world.
Yep. And I also have to point out, a little less well-renowned, but definitely worthy of laudation, the only grave in this cemetery with Arabic writing on it. So this is the grave of Father Alexander Addy. So Father Alexander was the dean of this seminary, actually, but he was an Antiochian priest. And he was from Allentown originally. His family is from Allentown, and his family's name actually was traditionally Atiyah. So Addy is a kind of Americanization, which, this happens a lot with immigrant families. Father Alexander was an amazing priest. He served for many, many years at St. Michael's in Louisville, Kentucky, and he took a parish that was really declining and made it into a powerhouse. It really is a powerhouse now. And
I remember he came to, when you were pastor at St. Paul's.
That's right.
He came, I met him a few times. He came
there.
and gave some talks there. Yeah,
That's
he was
right.
a wonderful man.
Yeah. The thing I remember especially about Father Alexander is whenever he would shake my hand, it felt like he was going to break it. Like he would had a hard handshake. But, to let you know who's boss, I guess. But memory eternal, Father Alexander. He was a great guy. He died of cancer. He was unfortunately just in his early 60s. So he was the dean here for only a few years, and I think his last year or two he was starting to get pretty sick. And then so he stepped aside, and not too many months after that he died. But just a good man and worthy of remembrance for sure. So, yeah. There's a lot of interesting graves here in the St. Tikhon Cemetery. So if you ever find yourself in northeastern Pennsylvania, you should come. I'm a big cemetery hound anyways. But what's interesting, of course, is that this is the Orthodox cemetery, and all the graves are facing exactly east. But if you go across the street, there's a Protestant cemetery over there, and they're facing every which way. So there you go. That's the East Canaan Bible Cemetery. It's called, So it's kind of an interesting little detail. Some people might miss.
Well, if Jesus is going to be seen by everybody in every direction.
Doesn't matter which way they're facing.
Then every eye will see.
Come back from the east.
Yeah, but every eye's going to see him wherever he comes.
That's right.
Come on now.
Yeah, but the Orthodox will see him first because they're facing the right way.
Fair enough, I guess. All right. You win that one. Dang it. See, I'm trying to make some disagreement. People say we don't disagree enough. So hopefully that was enough.
It's because I always win.
Here's enough to feed them for a little while.
All right. Well, Before we say farewell to everybody, I have a little memory that I want to tell about that happened right here. So, in the year that St. Raphael of Brooklyn was canonized, which happened right where we're standing, because the services were right over there, it was all happening right here. And the year that he was canonized was actually the first time that I visited St. Tikhon's. And so that was the year 2000, and I would begin seminary study 4 years later. In that year, besides canonizing St. Raphael, they also consecrated a new bishop. And this is Bishop Alejo, now Archbishop Alejo of Mexico City. And so they consecrated him over here in the monastery church. And then as things were wrapping up, they decided to bring him outside so that everybody could come and get a blessing from the brand new bishop. And so where do you think they had him stand? They had him stand right here. And what were they doing the whole time he was blessing people? They were ringing those bells. And I came up and got his blessing. And while I got his blessing, I felt like I was going to go deaf. And I just thought to myself, like, here they have this brand new bishop and they are damaging this man's hearing. I really hope that they had some kind of, I don't know, something for him. But I always think about poor Archbishop Alejo, who had to, his ears were ringing.
Yep.
For a long, long time, when he was a brand new bishop, literally had been a bishop for minutes, and he did that standing right here. So,
wow.
So here we are. This is one of the iconic places in St. Tikhon's. This is the bell tower. It actually had a slightly different configuration when I was still a seminarian here. There was actually a sort of a bridge up there that you could walk on, but they've now kind of moved the whole thing down. And you notice, if you look here, there's ropes to pull. There's even pedals to play the bells with. And whoever's ringing the bells will put, ear protection on so that they don't go deaf.
Or get tinnitus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, thanks for joining us today on this little Areopagitic tour.
Yeah, Areopagitic tour.
Monastery.
It's cold, and so our faces aren't working correctly, so it's making it hard for us to pronounce
That's right.
things.
Our eloquence is a little muted.
It is muted. It's a humble moment for us.
Exactly.
It's maybe the Lord telling us to be quiet.
Yeah, but it's been a great day, and if you're considering serving in the priesthood in the Orthodox Church, this is a good place to look into to come and study.
Or if you're interested in the study of iconography and music as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's a number of different programs going on here. And it's a beautiful, holy place to struggle for your salvation, to struggle to gain in knowledge and wisdom and skill. And it's good to be back today.
Yeah, it's good to be here too.
Yeah, nice to have you with me.
It's good to be here.